Lucian, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm a trans man. So, yeah. And I was one of the people that helped organize this, so I just want to say, first off, thank you everyone for coming. It really means the world to us. It's great to know that there's so many people. A lot of you are strangers that I've never met, but it's a nice thought, and it's really comforting to know that there's just so many people out in the world that actually care for us, even if you don't know us. So Theo mentioned statistics, and it kind of got me thinking. There's so many statistics, and one of those famous ones, I guess, about trans people is the 41%. And that 41% represents the percentage of trans people that attempt to commit suicide. And it just got me thinking, you know, I want us to be more than just a statistic. I don't want people to just see us and see us as suicidal people that aren't going to be happy, because that's not true. There's so much out there for us. We have such a unique experience that so many people in the world can't relate to because they're not trans. And I want the world to, instead of seeing us as a statistic, I want them to see us and see how happy we can be. I want them to see us and see how successful we can be. Because we're more than just a number. We're people, and we have feelings, and we have dreams. And I want people to know that we're going to accomplish those dreams, you know? I also kind of wanted to talk about why I'm here doing this, because a couple years ago I never thought I would be here doing this, even though I've known for quite a while, even before coming out, that I was trans. I don't know that many trans adults in my life. I don't really have a trans person that's transitioned or anything like that that's had to go through obstacles in their life that I can go up to and talk to and ask them questions and have those questions answered. A lot of my journey has just been me trying to figure things out on my own until I found all my friends. And so that's kind of why I'm doing this, because along the way, while I was trying to figure this out and trying to figure out who I was, I kind of realized that there are other kids that are maybe younger than me that are going through the same thing. And there are younger kids that don't have someone to look up to, kind of like how I didn't have anyone to ask questions to. So it made me realize that I wanted to be that person for someone else. I wanted to be an adult that was open about being trans and proud about being trans, because it's not something I should be ashamed of. I wanted to be an adult that could be proud of who I was, and to be an adult that could guide someone else when they felt alone. So that's just kind of why I've started putting myself out there, and I've started talking about it, and started trying to put things like this together. So thank you, everyone.
I was terrified to tell my teachers that I no longer wanted to be referred to as she or Jillian, as the subject had never been addressed at my school before. I had 2 friends who were trans, but that was it. It was never spoken about, as it wasn't a common occurrence. I ended up telling my reading teacher and asked her to tell the others, as I was scared. The deans of my school called me in with my parents, and we had a conversation. Throughout the following months, they did their best to listen to and accommodate me. They had never had a transgender student before, so they did their research and did everything they could to make me comfortable, offering to let me use the teacher's restroom if I didn't feel comfortable in the public ones. That is what schools should be like. Children shouldn't be afraid to be themselves. It should be against the law for them to be comfortable in their own body. No longer is this about Republicans versus Democrats, liberals versus conservatives, right versus left. This is about a violation of basic human rights. What Trump is doing is disgusting. He's taking away all the progress the transgender community has made in the past couple of years. And it's not just him. There are so many people who support him, blindly or not, who cheer him on, cheer his bigotry on. They think that being transgender is some sort of mental affliction, that something's wrong with us. But that's because they don't understand how it feels to be an intruder in your own body, how it feels to look at yourself in the mirror and not always recognize your reflection. They don't understand how awful that feels. They're ignorant to it, and that ignorance quickly leads to arrogance. They assume they know what is best, and that assumption is hurting people, students, as they force them to be who they are not. But Who are they to dictate which bathrooms we use, what name we go by, or what pronouns we respond to? Why are they so insistent that it somehow affects their lives? They are taking away our right to be ourselves. And while it may seem like a monumental task, we can't let them. We need to work together to stop them because one person can't do it alone. Get together, organize marches like this one. Tell your friends and family, make signs and put them outside your house. Post on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Use your voices and speak out, because silence is surrender and life's too short to let bigotry and hate tear us apart.
My name is Noah. I wanted to talk, but I didn't really know what to say, so I literally just wrote this. I was thinking of what I wanted to say, and I decided just to share my story. For 13 years of my life, I grew up as a girl. I had no idea what transgender meant or that it was even a word. And about 3 years ago, I met my friend Casper. When I saw them, they presented as male, and I just kind of caught on. They passed well. I didn't even consider that they were non-conforming or trans, because, again, I didn't know what that was. We talked for a while, and after a few weeks, I asked them if they wanted to hang out. Their mom dropped them off and introduced them as their birth name, and I was confused, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be disrespectful. Eventually, I just asked, "Why did your mom call you that?" And they just said, "She's not accepting." Even though I wasn't sure what they meant, I just dropped the subject. A few months later, I told my childhood friend Asher that I don't think I'm a girl, and that I wanted to change my name. They basically just said, "Hey dude, that's cool, you do you." And for a whole year, I said nothing about that subject. Over that year, I hated myself. I refused to wear tight clothes or dresses. I didn't go to school dances or hang out with my friends, anyone except for Asher. And Lucian was the first trans person that I ever actually met. And when I found out what trans actually was, a lot of things made sense. A couple months later, I came out to a group of friends, about like 5 of my closest friends, as non-binary, and told them I wanted to go by Noah. They were accepting and wonderful and made me feel safe, and I appreciated it more than any of them know, because in that moment I was fucking terrified. I came out to my mom a week later. She wasn't as accepting. She said Noah was a stupid name, that I was obviously a girl, and I'm just copying Asher, who came out as non-binary a day before I did. A few months into going by Noah, I decided to change my pronouns to he, him. And I've been out as a transgender male for a little bit over a year now. Things are going a lot better than when I first came out. I don't get called by my birth name anymore. My mom still sends pictures of me in a dress to my gender therapist saying she can't be a boy, but I'm making progress. I finally have a consultation appointment to start my transition. My dad introduces me as his son. I still have parts of my family that refer to me as an it, and refuse to say any names while talking about me, won't even hug me anymore, but through that I have become much stronger. I now stand up for myself. I correct people on my pronouns, which I never used to be able to do. I'm sharing my story because I think it's important. I think everyone's story is important, because we are a community, and we bond over similar obstacles we all have or are going to overcome. We feed off the hate that is thrown at us and turn it into positivity to show people we will not sink down to their level. Our struggles bring us together and make us stronger. It turns us into a big transformer that's like literally invincible. And we're gonna make our voices heard by sharing our own stories.
I'm Diane. This is Cecilia. This is Kenya. We're all with Buried Seeds of Resistance. Basically, we're just like a group of queer, trans, and two-spirit young people, mostly people of color. And yeah, we do art and media, so anything from making videos. We've made a documentary called Rainbow Warriors. It's basically just like a tool for any young people who are facing the threat of suicide, which we do consider an act of violence against our communities. And we do like banner making, which this is one of our banners that we made for Jesse Hernandez, who was killed by police on January 26th, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's an organization that's youth-led. We try to fight back against violence within our community. We just do a lot of skill sharing. We have a lot of workshops as well within like media and how to create videos like Rainbow Warriors.
It's basically like by and for queer, trans, two-spirit young people. We do a lot of work that centers the experiences, of course, of young people of color. We just provide resources and like space for anybody experiencing violence and any kind of violence, so police violence, like I said, suicide, we consider violence against our communities, violence in schools, harassment by teachers, by anything, anything that you would consider violence. Yeah, we're also connected to the hotline that Mimi was talking about. That hotline is basically like our other organization that we're a part of, also called Survivors Organizing for Liberation. Like Mimi said, that hotline has been around for over 30 years in this community and will continue to be around for everyone here and everyone who couldn't make it. And yeah, one of our other projects is called Jesse Vive. Like I said, Jesse was killed by police 2 years ago. And Jesse was gender non-conforming, and they also have a sibling who is also gender non-conforming, who we continue to work with in Jesse's name and to remember Jesse.
So we made this banner for the first anniversary last year of Jesse's killing, and one of the reasons that we do art and that we come together in space together is, one, to be able to build family together, because we see each other in school, we see each other on the street, and there's not a lot of spaces that our experiences and our lives are protected and seen as sacred. But that art that we do, it brings us together through this deep cosmic way of healing and telling our stories in ways that they'll never be told if we don't get the opportunities and the spaces to do that for ourselves. Banner making is something that we've been doing a lot of lately, because it's a way for us to put some vision that we have in a big way, like in a giant way that it can be seen for miles, right? And we hung these banners that we made for Jesse 1 year ago over I-25, and we continue to hold them in spaces. We continue to have them wherever we can put them up, and we're going to continue forever to build solidarity with the rest of our community that doesn't see us yet. The community that feels that they can call the police instead of come check on the window and say, hey, are you all okay? What's up? I care for my community, I look out for my community, and that's also what we're trying to build at BC, is a space where we show up for each other, where we take on each other's safety, we take on each other's defense. Because if other people aren't going to do that, we do that for ourselves.